Well, we're doing a rendition of Edgar Allan Poe's The Pit and the Pendulum.
Story about this prisoner who kind of gets captured around Spanish Inquisition time, and he is put through all these really torturous and horrible psychological events and everything. And we thought it would be really interesting to take that into a modern twist and kind of put it in a post-apocalyptic setting.
Post-nuclear war America. The prisoner is sentenced to death and put in this arena, and he doesn't know why, he doesn't know how. But when he wakes up, he wanders around and still is eventually drugged. And
so we basically got together and just kind of discussed what that would look like, what kind of future would have those kinds of things. And then we all just kind of started developing these concepts and putting it into the context of an arena, and what would that look like in a post-war setting, and it all just kind of came together after that.
So since it's futuristic, we wanted to kind of build a pit out of what would be like found objects of a post-apocalyptic setting. So broken down cars, just pieces and materials of whatever they could find. So what we made was like a death arena. So it's made out of broken down, hammered out like matchbox cars, all stacked up high to build this like arena, this pit. And then I made a roof to make it seem more enclosed, more captivating, more like a prison. It's made out of just what looks like sheet metal. It's just construction paper, and then a hole cut at the top where the pendulum will swing.
When we were doing the original research, a lot of post-apocalyptic kind of settings used a lot of really green hues and things like that. It kind of made it look almost sickly, and I don't really think that's fitting for kind of the concept we wanted to go for, because it wasn't a plague that wiped out all these people. It was a war-torn environment, so we really wanted to kind of play off of this really kind of gray, dark future that these people are living in. So rather than going kind of with these green hues and everything, we decided to kind of go with the more grayish look, and then we wanted to kind of incorporate some blue and everything too, just to give it kind of a real hazy look.
It's interesting to work with a lighting designer in such a small scale. I've worked on a lot of films and I'm used to big scale, full production, lighting, but this is different. This is trying to match, these tiny angles, these tiny little slivers of light.
A lot of our lighting primarily comes from the moonlight to mimic this kind of main light source that's coming into the arena that finally illuminates everything for our main character to see.
When this nuclear apocalypse happened, kind of wiped out a lot of the department stores, so there wasn't very much looting going on. So what you had was generally what you had. And that concept inspired a lot of the different character looks as well. Specifically for the head judge, I found his costume very interesting to work with, because he was a Secretary of Defense. And so he had that jacket and that suit that he originally had when the nuclear apocalypse happened. So he kept it. It gives him a sense of power during this time, rather than just some random judge that has come into power. Their choices heavily influenced my costumes. If we chose to go with a more modernized stadium, it would be sooner in the future. Maybe there would be fresh loot if the nuclear war hadn't taken anything. Their sets and their lighting choices really influenced the way that the costumes were put together and the costumes were created.
Yeah, one of the biggest obstacles was obviously trying to find this many Matchbox cars. I realized that after going to Target and everywhere else that every Matchbox car is about $1, and I have I think 70 on there. So I started searching the internet and found a woman on Craigslist selling 117 cars for $40. So I was like, sweet, sounds good. So I bought those, and kind of funny, she asked me what I was doing with them, asked me if I was a collector, and I told her, nope, I'm gonna hammer them out with a mallet and glue them together to make a death arena. And she was like, all right, well, send me pictures.
I wanted to really make the model work, so a lot of it had to come from sources that we wouldn't necessarily use in a full-scale model. So, for fire, we wanted to kind of use this flickering light, which can be found in tea light candles that are, battery powered and everything, to kind of give the mimic of flickering fire, and just little LED lights kind of for these flashing car things because they're supposed to look, like they're just running off of barely any battery power anymore. And then just kind of using almost a kind of homemade softbox for lighting to kind of give that really soft glow of the moonlight while kind of adding in some blue gels or any material we could find to give it kind of that blue hue over the whole lighting overall.
Some of the group members, they wear just regular clothes, t-shirt and jeans, because they can't find anything else. Maybe they're using trees or the leaves off of trees to help keep themselves warm at night. There's a lot of different ransacking or a lot of different design elements that needed to be considered with this, and a lot of different environmental changes that need to be brought in. One of the biggest challenges was the main character, and also the group that he's with, because you have to think, you can't go full on generic, like if it's really hot out, you need to wear a bandana, you need to wear all of this. And also at night, you can't be super duper bundled up in like winter coats. You need to go more general. Ian, in one of my classes, when I was making this production, he had told me to not overthink it, because if you're overthinking it, then everyone else is going to overthink it as well. Sometimes there are things that don't really need to be said.